Hello to you, friends. This is Dhamma on Air number 26. It is recorded on the 24th of June 2016. And there are 6 questions. But first the normal intro. Namo Tasso Bhagavato Arahato Samma-Sambuddhassa. Worthy, honorable, and perfectly self-enlightened was the blessed Buddha. The first question, which is question 54 in this Dhamma on Air series, goes like this. How to know which of the 40 classic meditation objects is the most suited one for me? First, the place to go to see what orthodox early Theravada Buddhist meditation is about is a heavy meditation manual. It's called Visuddhimagga, the path of purification, which contains detailed instructions about all these 40 meditation objects. So I can highly recommend studying that book. There's a small one, a precursor to that one. Probably the Visuddhimagga is from 430 after Christ, and the Vimuttimagga, the path of freedom, or the path of release, is probably from the 1st century after Christ. It's considerably shorter, but not so well translated. So I recommend the full detailed account. That is the book, The Path of Purification, the Visuddhimagga, translated by Nyanamoli Bhikkhu down here in Sri Lanka in the early 60s. No, in the early 50s. Sorry, he died in 55. No, he died in 60. It's true. So the first one is how is most suited. Actually, one is not the best person to see that oneself. So the best thing is to get an experienced monk which knows one well, which is one's friend, to designate the right meditation object for one. And I will volunteer to do that for every one of you, but I have to have a personal one-on-one or 2 or 3 conversations with you, preferably on Skype. Or you can come here and visit me, so I can kind of like look you a little closer in the cards to see which one. So they are kind of one's meditation object, which is usually lifelong. One can have 2 or 3 lifelong. They should be tailored to one's mind and to the defilements of one's mind. So each individual has a special mix of defilement, which is most suited for some particular meditation objects of these 40. We'll go through all of them 40. In general, one can say there's 3 root defilements. Greed, lobha, 1. 2, hate, dosa. 3, ignorance, avidya. Which one of those falls into these categories? This is a 3 category. Either one have all 3 actually, but one of them will be leading, will be dominant, and then one should work on this dominant defilement. Then the 2 others will also fall apart. So let's go first with the hate one. How is the hater, the aversive one? He gets easily angry. He's irritated. He has a short fuse. He's often annoyed, or she's often annoyed, displeased with the world and other people, disappointed with the world and other people, disappointed with themselves, resentful, exasperated. One easy thing is to say that aversive, one who has aversion, hate, as a main defilement, they eat quickly and speak quickly, walk quickly. These should be overcome by the 4 infinite Brahma Viharas, the best dwellings, or the divine dwellings, which is metta, infinite goodwill, good for irritation. Karuna, infinite pity or compassion, good for people who are cruel, for example, hunters or fishers. Mudita, which is success in other people's joy or rejoicing in other people's success, is good for those who are dominated by envy and jealousy. And upekkha, infinite equanimity, this balances out the desire. If you do metta, then your desire grows. So if the other defilement, the greed part is dominant, that will be predominant people who eat too much, who are overweight or obese, who have sex or porn abuse, or who are homosexual or bisexual. They will typically have greed, lobha, as the main defilement. They should not do metta, because then their greed, lobha, increases. So this is counter necessary in this case. So infinite friendliness, infinite pity, infinite rejoicing in other people's success, mudita, and infinite equanimity is for those with hate, with dosa, irritation, as the main defilement. If one eat or speak or walk slowly, enjoying, then greed, lobha, is the main defilement. They would have eating mania, bulimia, sex porn obsession. They will be of a greedy nature, obese and overweight. So they enjoy all these senses. They enjoy good food, they enjoy good sex, and so on. Good culture. They will have this defilement. They are very pleased with all these senses. Something, whatever they see, whatever they hear, whatever they feel, touch, smell, or taste, they will have this. This is the main defilement. Drug abusers are also in the greed. They have greed for a particular intoxicated state of mind. Drinkers, same. Also on the greed side. They should do what? They should do disgust meditation, asubha bhavana, disgust meditation, on corpses or skeletons. They should do body scanning, where you scan the body through all organs and through all parts of the skeletons, all the bones and the tendons, from top to toe and back again. Corpse meditation is that you imagine as yourself or a corpse in front of you being 1 day, 3 day, dead, bluish, eaten by worms, opening up, only with bones sticking out, organs missing, bones still connected with tendons, bones without tendons falling apart, bones lying heaped up, the cranium there, a hip bone there, and so on, white. And then in the last stages, the bones becoming black and rotten and then turned into powder. This will, of course, then also one should look at the internal disgusting aspects. If it's sex is apart, instead of looking at the beautiful lady or the beautiful sex partner, then imagine their internals, the urine in their bladder, the excrement in their bowels, for example. Then this greed will go down. One should look away from beautiful parts such as the breast, the bum, the face, the genitals, and the muscles, but turn directing mind to the disgusting parts such as urine, excrement, bowels, intestines, nails, bones, teeth, spit, snot, in order to curb and gradually reduce this greed through disgust. Because greed and disgust cannot be in the mind at the same time. So if you have disgust for the object, you cannot be greedy for it. So greed pushes out disgust, gradually, little by little. You can say it's in classic psychology, we have this Pavlov's response. The first was a Russian scientist who went in to feed his dogs, and then he rang a bell. And then he conditioned the dogs to have salivation without giving them food. So every time he rang a bell, they thought they should get food, then they start to salivate and dripping on the floor of saliva, of spit. So spit coming out their mouth when he rang the bell. So he conditioned their secretion of spit, which is not voluntary, it's involuntary, it's unconscious, subconscious. He conditioned that with the sound of a bell. And so also we have conditioned all our greedy natures. If we see food, we see a sexual object, if we hear music or see a film or whatever, then we want it, we go for it, we're attracted to it. But if we redirect mind and then we are conditioned to have this lust arising. It's the same as a dog who starts to salivate when they hear the bell. So it's a conditioning. Through disgust, one is deconditioning mind. So one turns off this Pavlov response to attractive objects by deliberately redirecting mind to the disgusting objects or aspects of the same object. This is overcome sense desire, kamachanda, which is the main defilement of most beings on planet Earth right now. Main defilement, driven by advertisement and easy access to food, sex, porn, films, music, whatever. So we are bombarded with signs of attractive objects every day. So kamachanda, sense desire, difficult, flood to overcome, is flushing out beings of samsara down to the lower stages. First to the animal stage, then the hungry ghost state, then the angry demon state, and then hell. It's flushing out this kamachanda. It's why Buddha say kamachanda, sense desire, is why king fights with kings, and politicians with politicians, and father with son, and mother with daughter, and friend with friend. Everybody fights with everybody because of one thing, because of sense desire, nothing else. They want more pleasure, and that's why they fight. It's the male dogs meeting and pulling in the same rotten meat. So what one has to do is to let go of this rotten meat, this object of the sense desires, and then let go of this pack of fighting dogs and withdraw oneself out of this unfortunate, detrimental, and catastrophically, often, unfortunately, path of sense desire, which ends in limitless perversion, in limitless overeating, in completely mindless consumerism, which is destroying the planet as we speak. So this is a main thing people should focus about, is to curb this desire. If, on the other hand, so this was the greed, lobha, root defilement, and the hate, dosa, root defilement. What about the ignorance, root defilement? Yeah, this is if one has this, if it doubt, hesitation, speculation, intellectualization, writing long letters, long books, and so on, ponderings, worries over various kinds of issues. Then ignorance is the main defilement. Then one should do vipassana, insight meditation, and not so much samatha meditation. I'll go through the 40 objects now. The Buddha taught 40 principal meditation objects, kammatthana. What does kammatthana mean? It actually means a place to work, a basis of action leading to the various degrees of mental absorption of dhyana in the ideal case. So kammatthana, place to work. It's a workplace for the meditator, for the Buddhist practitioner. It's a workplace, kammatthana, one's meditation object. Here in the old days on Sri Lanka, if people met chatting at the pond while they were collecting water, then they would ask typically, what's your meditation object? And if person asked that he didn't have any meditation object, then he would be regarded as primitive by the others in this society, in this Buddhist society. He have apparently not visited the monks and asked for meditation objects. So he was without any kammatthana. He was without any mental workplace. And therefore he was primitive. They regarded as that in the social community, as half crackpot and not case, one who was not developing himself. It's interesting to note here in year 2016 that 1,000 years ago it was like this. The culture was so high here, the Buddhist culture was so high here that if you didn't have a meditation object in hand and in use, then you were regarded as primitive, a primitive member of the society. You were looked down upon, not without a reason. The 40 classic and orthodox meditation subjects or objects are the 10 kasina exercises. Kasina means entirety. All 4 jhanas are possible. with these entireties. However, they are difficult because they require that the four foundations, the Chachari Satipatthana, is established first. That is, that you have unbroken awareness, unrelapsing awareness. Otherwise, you cannot get absorption into these kasinas, where you try to exclude everything else than just this object. There's the earth kasina, focusing only on solidity. The water kasina, focusing only on fluidity. The fire kasina, focusing only on heat. The wind kasina, focusing only on motion. The blue kasina, where you close your eyes after having looked on a blue object, and then the task is to fill your entire visual field with closed eyes until it's a stable corn blue, or Eve Klein blue, clear blue, deep blue. Very difficult, very difficult. One can get a spot here and there, but to make the entire visual field unbroken, clear blue, that's difficult. That's difficult. And therefore one should train the four foundations of awareness first, because otherwise one cannot do it. 6, the yellow kasina, entirely yellow. Red, white. 9, light or consciousness kasina, even more subtle because it cannot be seen. Light itself cannot be seen. And consciousness even less so. But there you try to fill your mind with an entirety, a wholeness of only consciousness and no other object. And 10, space, empty space kasina. This is what the kasinas. I cannot recommend them for beginners at all. Don't do that before you have established the four foundations of awareness. Then there's the 10 perceptions of disgust. First jhana is possible. That's good for the greedy natures, the obese, and those who have sex or porn obsessions. It's a swollen or bloated corpse, a bluish livid corpse, a rotting corpse, a cut up and split corpse. It's cut up with a knife and split with an axe. A gnawed corpse, gnawed by mice and rats. A hacked corpse, hacked by claws. A scattered corpse spread out. A bloody corpse. A corpse of maggots and a skeleton. This is a 10 asubha objects, 10 disgust objects. Focusing on them will cure greed, porn, drug, obsession, addictions, and overeating. Then there are the 10 contemplations of they are good for all and easy also, our 10 recollections, anusati. It is remembering the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha, the noble Sangha, the qualities of morality, generosity, the divine devas, death, the body, in and out breathing, anapanasati. And 10, peace, nibbana. In and out breathing, all 4 jhanas is possible. Fantastic technique, anapanasati. Used by all Buddhas to attain enlightenment on the night of the enlightenment. Fantastic technique. Difficult, but giving results for everyone. And you can go all the way to nibbana with only this one single technique. Breathing meditation. Highly recommendable. Then there's the 4 divine abodes or infinite states, Brahma-vihara. This is for those who are easily angry, irritated, or aversive. All-embracing friendliness. 1, metta. 2, infinite piti, karuna, or compassion. 3, mutual joy, or rejoicing in others' success, mudita. 4, equanimity, upekkha, or serenity. 4 Brahma-viharas for the aversive ones. Then there's the 4 formless spheres, arupa yadana, based on the 4th jhana. So these are not for people who are beginners or amateurs. You have to go to the 4th jhana, rupa jhana, first. Then you go on with the formless jhanas, which are the infinitude of space, the infinitude of consciousness, empty nothingness, and neither perception nor non-perception. Of course, one can easily imagine to try to get absorbed into an entirety, a wholeness, a soulness of these 4 objects. Even the infinitude of space, which is the most easy, is not exactly easy. So, not recommended for beginners, but for experts. Then the perception of loathsomeness of food, ahara, paticula, sanya. They are for the greedy natures, for those who are obese, for those who are overweight in any kind of that sense. How to sense when you're overweight? You look at the lower part of your arm, from the wrist to the elbow, to the underside of that. If you can see the veins all the way up to the elbow, from the wrist all the way up to the elbow on the underside, then you're okay, your weight is okay. If you cannot see the veins, and then you're overweight. You can see the descent here. I can actually see my veins to here, but 2/3 up, I cannot see the vein. There's too much fat tissue in the subcutis. And I am also something like 5 kilo overweight at the moment. Another good way to calculate your weight is to say your height in centimeters. Then if I am 194, and then you take it down from 100, then you get 94. Then you take 10% of 94, that's 9.4 kilo, and subtract 94. Then you get 37 or 87.4 kilo is for me. So your height in centimeters, minus 100, minus 10% of that number. Then you have your ideal weight. An easy thing, look at the underside of your underarm from the wrist to the elbow, on the volar side, on the palm side, and see if you can see the veins sticking out all the way up. If you can, no problem. If you can't, there's a problem. How to perceive the loathsomeness of food. Yeah, that's to say, what does food become into when you are chewing it up? It becomes vomit. And what does it become when it comes out in the pot? Then it's excrement. And how is it made? Yeah, corn is grown by excrement from pigs or from cows. They are used as fertilizer. So one goes into this excrement from pigs and cows, goes into the corn, and then we eat it as bread. Same thing with all kind of meats. One focus on all the disgusting aspects about the food. Just think about how meat is produced also in these big farms where the animals are tortured in the most inhumane sense. So this is a particular sanya, loathsomeness of food. That's also a meditation object. For the greedy nature, for those who are obese, and for those who are overweight, primarily. Then there is the last one is defining analysis of the 4 great elements, Dhatu-Vatthana. It's difficult because then one tries to get a handle on what matter is, what form is, rupa, seen in the Buddhist sense. The Buddhist sense is saying that it's solidity. So it's not a substance, it's a property. Solidity is not a substance, it's a property. It's a quality. It's not something tangible in itself. So solidity, fluidity, heat, and motion. These are the 4 primary elements in Buddhist philosophy. One tries to define them. They are good, but not so easy. One can work up them for some years before getting really a handle on them. And what they mean for perception, what they mean for psychology, what they mean to how we perceive the world. So this is the 40 classic meditation objects. Again, they are described on my website, whatbuddhasaid.net. You just search for the 40 classic and 40 meditation objects, then you will get what is the 40 meditation objects. There they are described in detail. There's also a link to a free PDF book, Visuddhimagga, The Path of Purification, which I can recommend everybody who's interested in serious meditation, Buddhist meditation, they study. This was question 54. We're 25 minutes in. Question 55 is about stream entry. And this person asks, I feel sometimes that I attain stream entry, but later I lose the stream entry mind of state. Yes, then the stream entry has probably not occurred yet. Most of those people who think they have attained stream entry Vimuttimagga. They have not done it. I would say something like 99%. So it's usually some kind of ego gratification. Say, I have a noble state, before the noble state has occurred, actually. So I'll just mention the criteria for a stream entry so one can see for oneself. First, the state is that one have only 7 lives left. Stream entry means one has entered the stream to Nibbana. So one will attain Nibbana within 7 lives at most. One cannot kill one's father, mother, and cause a Buddha to bleed or cause schism in the Sangha. So the 5 heinous crimes one cannot do. One cannot be reborn as an animal or lower than that. That is to say, ghost, Peta, Asura, angry demon, or hell being. One cannot be reborn lower than human or divine in the 7 lives left. Criteria: one is freed from the first 3 fetters, samyojana, which binds beings to existence in the karma loka. That is to know personality belief, sakaya ditthi, clinging to personality belief, atta vatupadana. What is personality belief? That is to say, this body is me, this is mine, this is what I am. These feelings are me, they are mine. This is what I am. These things out there, this camera, this robe here, this paper is mine. It's my possessions. These thoughts, these perceptions, these mental constructions, my plans, my dreams, and my hopes, and this consciousness which I perceive this reality. This is mine. This is me. This is what I am. I am inside this form, feeling, perception, mental construction, and consciousness. If one can apply to any one of these 20 various views, then one has not attained stream entry. So this is a test. This is the first bar, personality belief, that there is a person there, that is the same person from one moment to the next moment. From yesterday to today, then there is a person there that is the same. And this person is I, me, or mine. And that's these 5 variants. Either that I am this, I am my feeling, my body, or I own it, or I'm inside it, or I'm composed of it, I'm made of it. If one can ascribe to one of these views, these 20 views, 20 kinds of personality belief. You can also search that on my website, whatbuddhasaid.net, to see them described in detail by the Buddha. Then one has not attained stream entry. And it's fairly normal for people to identify with the body. They say, this body is mine. This body is me. This body is what I am. This body is what I'm made of. I am inside this body. And the same thing, of course, goes with feelings, perceptions, mental constructions, plans, activities, and in particular also consciousness. This consciousness is me, is mine, is what I am. I am inside this. I own it. This is a sakaya ditthi, wrong view. Then one has not attained stream entry. So look closely at that. That's interesting. Then there's another thing. This is the first bar to lift. Then the second one is skeptical doubt, vicikiccha, and clinging to various views, ditthi upadana. So vicikiccha is skeptical doubt in that the Buddha actually was perfectly self-enlightened. Any kind of skeptical doubt in that, then one is not a stream entrant. The stream entrant has only the Buddha as teacher for the last 7 lives. If you take he or she, put them on mass, without books, without teacher, without anything, they can attain enlightenment by themselves. So they take no other teacher in these 7 last lives. They're very focused indeed. Cannot be shaken out of their faith. Not at all. Unshakable are they. Clinging to various views, ditthi upadana, is clinging to, for example, naive reality. There is a reality out there, it's independent of the perceiving mind. This stone is real. even if it wasn't perceived by anybody, then if it wasn't observed, then it was the same stone. This world out there, this stone and this camera and this monk is the same as he was yesterday. Clinging to various views, philosophical views. They are gods, only Jesus is good, or only Allah is good, or the scientists know everything. They know more than anybody else. It's clinging to various views. Foolish views, wrong views. Miccha ditti. So there's clinging, the last one is attachment to mere rules and rituals, silabbata paramasa. Also a kind of clinging. It's clinging to rituals, will for example say, clinging to rules. If I burn a lot of incense, then my bad karma can be exhausted. Or if I take on funny hats, or if I count these beads, or if I do prostration 10,000 times, then I can affect my own future. This is not the case. It's clinging to rule and ritual. One is clinging to some superficial things that in essence has no efficacy, no karmic efficacy on one's own future. That is, they don't move probability in any direction. And if they move it, it's downward. You're not approaching Nibbana, you're going away from Nibbana with all these foolish practices. Same thing, worshipping a totem pole, or a tanga, some thing hanging on the wall, a wall hanging, or whatever. It's as efficacious as worshipping a hammer or a screwdriver. Same thing. Doesn't work. But you see this worship, that is animism, imposing efficacy into some objects that has no efficacy. Making them like a totem, making them like a fetish that has some efficacy, a doll, a voodoo doll, and then imposing some efficacy on it that it doesn't have, that it has some effect, holy or not, that it has some effect that it doesn't have. Usually it's material things, but can also be other issues that is worshipped. This is clinging to rule and ritual. So if anything of that, one of these three are there, then one is not a stream-entrant. A stream-entrant has no personality belief. Doesn't believe this body is him or her. There's no skeptical doubt in the Buddha. Doesn't cling to any kind of foolish views about naive reality. He doesn't have any attachment to rule and ritual, any funny stuff. Funny hats, funny beads, funny doings, burning fires, jumping into dirty rivers and think that this is purification. He or she doesn't have that. They're very cool, straight on the path. Then there's another thing, is some doubts which you can look for in yourself, whether this is present or not. A stream-entrant cannot be convinced that there are permanence in some phenomena. He or she knows that impermanence, anicca, is in all phenomena in the world, and in the divine worlds and so on. So he doesn't fall in love with anything and say, this is permanent, I can keep this as me, as mine. I can keep my money, I can keep my lover, I can keep my car, I can keep my house, I can keep my life, I can keep my body, I never become sick or die. He or she cannot be convinced about that. They know impermanence is absolute. They're not in doubt about it at all. So if this doubt is there momentarily, then one is not a stream-entrant. Another thing is doubt about suffering. Dukkha in all phenomena is not present in the stream-entrant. That is to say, they even though they come attractive objects and they eat food and so on, they are not in doubt that this is also suffering. This is also dukkha, because this is also impermanent. So whatever comes up, fame, name, money, whatever, they know this is also suffering. They cannot be convinced or attracted or lured or enchanted by any object, any event, any circumstance, that this is not suffering, that this is pleasure, that this is happiness, true, lasting, genuine happiness. They cannot be convinced about that. While many other beings, they jump the hook, bite the hook, and think, this is not suffering. And then later, There's a lot of yelling. Then there's a doubt about no self, anicca, no self, anatta, no core substance, absence of core, absence of substance in all phenomena. First of all, internally, that there is no self in this being, in this process of being, this process of rebecoming, bhava. There's no being, there's no I, there's no me, there's no soul, there's no self, there's no person, there's no personality there to be found, ever. They cannot be convinced about that. They know that this is the case, that there is no person, there is only no self, there's only emptiness of self, emptiness of substance, emptiness of self internally, and emptiness of substance, of core, external, in all worldly phenomena. So this is Stream-Entrant. He doesn't have any doubt about anicca, impermanence, dukkha, suffering, anatta, no self, no substance. He doesn't have any doubt about that, and cannot be brought to have doubt about it. He cannot jump the hook again. This was question 55. 37 minutes in. Now it's question 56. This is also about a stream-entrant, a sotapanna. Please tell us about the 16 knowledges of a sotapanna for the benefit of those who inspire to be one. And at the time, how do you term a junior sotapanna? There are no junior sotapanna really in the text. There's a term called sekka and asekka. A sekka is a learner. And a learner defined as being a stream-entrant or higher. While an arahat is asekka, he's an unlearner. He's learned. He has nothing more to learn. So there's no junior. There's those, if you should say, those who are on the path to being stream-entrant, who are working for that at the present moment, they are on the path to Sotapanni Magga. They are on the path to stream entry, but has not yet attained stream entry. And therefore they are not reckoned as learners yet. When they have attained stream entry, they are learners and will be seen as such, designated as such, by the noble Sangha. And the Buddha said that those who are, when you go Pindabat, when the monks go out for Pindabat in the morning, then they should preferentially go to those who are learners, because they need the pin to come even higher. And they are in the fold. They are a part of the Arya Sangha, not the conventional Sangha, Vimuttimagga, which is all Buddhists, both noble and non-noble, both male and female, lay devotees, and also the ordained monks and nuns. But when the Buddha he speaks about the Sangha, then he means the Arya Sangha, the noble Sangha, which is only those who have attained stream entry and upwards. There are very few of those. I cannot say because I don't know all nobles, but in the world I would say my shot, just a shot at it, something in between 100 and 500, not more than that. Probably much less. But I don't know all people in Cambodia. I don't know all people in Burma. There could be more, but it's not far off to say between 100 and 500, not more than that, at the current time point. This may change if people take up serious study and Buddhist practice. We'll see about that. I hope it. So there's no junior stream-entrant. No, that's knowing the Noble Eightfold Way, both the mundane level and the supramundane level. And the supramundane level is Lokiya, or Lokutara. Lokiya is the mundane, the worldly level. Then the Lokutara is the supramundane. It's out of this world. It's above this world. It's not connected with this world, the supramundane level. The supramundane level was never defined, knowing the Noble Eightfold Way. It cannot really be defined, except that saying that the right concentration is the 4 jhanas, is the supramundane. But they also have a supramundane level that is higher than that, of the 4 jhanas itself. But if you go through the Noble Eightfold Ways, right view, ownership of karma. All beings are owners of their karma, inherit their karma, are born of their karma, are created by their karma, are linked to their karma, any intentional action they do, whether good or bad, the effects of that will be theirs only. The effects of that karma will follow them like a shadow that never leaves. This is right view, samadhi. First path factor. Right views of the 10 phenomena. Giving alms has good effects. Any self-sacrifice results in pleasure. Small gifts are also beneficial. There is resulting fruition thus of any good and bad behavior. There is moral efficacy of any relation to mother and father. There is this world and there are other worlds. There are beings who are spontaneously and instantaneously reborn, without mother, without father. There exist both good and pure recluses and monks in this world who, by having followed the right method of practice themselves, by their own direct experience, can tell about these other worlds and explain them and thereby make them known right here, just as I do now. This is right view. Then there's a third component of right view, is the right view of the Four Noble Truths, the core of Buddhism. Right view of this is suffering, all this is suffering. That is suffering, that is suffering. You're suffering, the world is suffering. Right view of craving is the cause of suffering, tanha. Right view of absence of craving is the end of suffering. No craving, no suffering. Right view that the Noble Eightfold Way leads to the end of suffering. This is right view. First factor of the Noble Eightfold Path, right view, samadhi. Number 2, right motivation, samma-sankappa. Sought free from sense desire, free from ill will, and free from cruelty. Samma-sankappa, right motivation. Right speech is not lying, not divisive speech, not scolding, and not foolish empty babble. 4, right action. Abstaining is no killing, no stealing, and no abusive sexual illegitimate intercourse like adultery. Right livelihood, Samma-Ajiva, is abstaining from any kind of livelihood, any kind of earning money that brings harm to other beings, such as trading in arms, in living beings, in intoxicating drinks like alcohol, in poison, in slaughtering, in fishing, in soldiering, in deceit, pretending, treachery, soothsaying, trickery, etc. Right effort, Samma-Ajiva, the effort avoiding and overcoming evil and disadvantageous behavior, and of developing and maintaining advantageous behavior, such as Dhamma study, meditation, and pure morality. 6, right awareness, Samma-Sati, is contemplating the body as a frame, the feelings as reactions, the minds only as moods, and all phenomena only as mental states. Not as me, not as mine, not as I, not as what I am, not as a world out there existing in and by itself, independent of the perceiving and observing mind. These are the 4 satipatthanas, the 4 foundations of awareness. The main thing that has to be established. Again, the body as a frame, the feelings as reactions, the mind as mood, and phenomena as only mental states, and nothing else than mental states. Right concentration, the 8th path factor, Samma-Samadhi, is the 4 jhanas, rupa jhanas. There are to be distinguished 2 kinds of concentration, mundane lokiya and supermundane lokuttara. The latter is associated with those states of consciousness known as the 4 supermundane paths and fruition. That is, if one has a supermundane jhana, then one is taken 1 step up. A supermundane jhana is necessary to take one to stream entry and to one's returner, to never returner and to arahat. One single moment, can be many moments, but one single moment is the minimum of a supermundane jhana to become noble. The Buddha's explanation of this, the 2 levels, Majjhima Nikaya number 117. I tell you, bhikkhus, there are 2 kinds of right view. The understanding that it's good to give food and offerings, that both good and evil actions will bear fruit and will be followed by results. This, so bhikkhus, is the view, though still subject to fermentation, is meritorious. It yields worldly results and bring good results. But whatever there is of understanding, of penetration, of right view conjoined with the path, the noble path being pursued, this is called the supermundane right view, Lukuttara samaditi, which is not of this world, but which is supermundane and conjoined with the path. So you see, right view here, I should do good and abstain from evil. This will give, then for example, giving gifts and repairing hospitals and so on. This will lead to a result that leads into the world at a higher level. Yes, it will lead to a good result, but it doesn't lead out of the world. It doesn't lead to Nibbana. So whatever view there is connected with going out of the world, that's supermundane right view. And so also with the other path factors. They are joined with the noble path leading out of the world. There's not joined with any fermentation, asava. Tricky issue. So this can be the 16 knowledges of one a noble knows. That there is these 8 path factors of the Noble Eightfold Way, and then they have 2 levels. The mundane and the supermundane level. And he knows both of them. Because as Stream-Entrant is noble, so he knows both the conventional, normal level, the worldly level of right view and right concentration and so forth. But he also knows the supermundane view from own personal direct experience. The Noble Eightfold Path and its factors is explained. Magga, ga-dipani, there's a manual by Venerable Ledi Sayadaw, teacher from Burma. It's wheels number 245, and it can be found on my website. I'll give you the link below. Good explanation, classic explanation, orthodox Burmese Buddhist. Then there are 18 principal insights. It can also be this that are the 16 knowledges. They are reflection on impermanence, which leaves the illusion of permanence. 1. 2. Reflection on suffering, renouncing the misapprehension of pleasure. Reflection on no self that evaporates the imagination of myself. Reflection on dispassion and disillusion, which abandons naive delight. Reflection on disgust, which eradicates voracious and insatiable greed. Reflection on ceasing, which desists from blind and initiating origination and involvement. Reflecting on relinquishment, which releases the lock of clinging. Reflection on fragility, which leaves the misconception of compact solidity in the world of solid objects. Reflection of the breakup of all constructions shuts down the tendency to accumulation. Reflection on change corrects the deception of any lasting constancy. Reflection on the signless eliminates the captivating appearance of a sign. Any sign, any phenomena whatsoever is a sign. Reflection on the desireless diminishes the feverish urge within all craving. Reflection on voidness erases the insistence on the self-deception, I am. Reflection on higher understanding uproots clinging to the fixed idea of a core in phenomena. Reflection on direct knowledge and vision removes confused misinterpretation. Reflection on the danger extirpates false assumption of reliance of whatever is unstable, like the body or the world. They're both unstable. You cannot rely on them. Reflection on the resolute contemplation shelves the neglect of non-contemplation. You have to think about it, huh? Otherwise one doesn't understand it. Reflection 18 is reflecting on turning away, exterminate mistaken insistence on self-bondage. So it's the self who thinks it's a self, and therefore it binds itself to whatever it thinks is itself. Turning away from that is disengaging from this illusion of the self. These are the 18 principal insights that are also given on my website, whatbuddhasaid.net, as the 18th principal insight. This is good for people who, to contemplate those are good for people who are worried, who are speculative, who have a tendency to intellectualize, write long letters, long discourses, long explanations, up and down the doorway, speculation, and so on. Ignorance, they're good to do this. They should reflect on these points, these 18 principal insights. Then they will be cured from their ignorance, from their doubt, from their hesitation, and from their confusion. This was question 56, 52 minutes in. Question 57. What can one do with regard to relatives who are not trying to practice Buddhism, and as to avoid conflict of feeling discouraged, wanting approval and so on? A. Be very nice, tolerant, patient in all cases, fully correct in any behavior. Show yourself in your behavior. Don't run around with the flag, I'm Buddhist. Show correct behavior. That's the Buddhist way. B. In discussions, do neither agree nor disagree with relatives about their manifold views. Just speak the Dhamma. The Buddha or his noble disciples said so and so, so and so. So when in discussion about this or that, you don't disagree. You don't agree. If you disagree, that there will be raised a response of aversion. If you agree, then they will say, what they say is right, and then they will ascribe to other wrong views also, similar to the one they just have told you about. So, as the Buddha said, don't agree, don't disagree, just speak the Dhamma. It has been a melody for my life, actually, since I'm becoming a Buddhist. Don't agree, don't disagree, just speak the Dhamma. If you disagree on philosophical or religious views, you will run into a storm of discussion and dispute and conflict. And this is leading nowhere. It's leading to sadness and sorrowness on all accounts. So just remember this. Don't agree, don't disagree, just speak the Dhamma. The Buddha said this and that. His noble disciples said this and that about this particular issue. Neither more nor less. Right on the point. This will solve most issues. Then, of course, be nice, be correct, be polite. In all instances. Question 58. As a person, are there specific things that we can do to cultivate the right livelihood, Samma-Ajiva? Yes, there are indeed. Right livelihood is fivefold. It's not earning a living by trading with any living beings. For example, chickens for consumption, or pigs for consumption, or slaves, or sex slaves, for example, in particular. Human trafficking, for example. Trading with living beings, for example, pets, in a pet shop owner, this is not living. This is not wrong livelihood, because they will have a nice life. But if there's any kind of suffering, they are kind of like bound up. Then it is wrong livelihood. Earning a living not involving selling of meat, fish, or flesh. Any kind of butchery and selling of meat, fish, or flesh, also in a restaurant, is wrong livelihood. Earning a living not involving any selling of any form of weapons that kills, designed to kill other beings. That's, of course, making suffering for other beings. Earning a living not involving any dealing with alcohol or illegal drugs, also making a lot of suffering all over the world. Earning a living not involving any selling of any form of poison. Poison for human beings, or for insect beings, or for any kind of being. Live being, conscious being. That is right livelihood. Again, right livelihood is not trading with living beings, meat, fish, or flesh, weapons, alcohol, illegal drugs, or poison. If you don't do that, you have right livelihood. If you do any kind of these 5 things, you have wrong livelihood. It's as easy as that. Some of my pupils here in Sri Lanka, they have given up. It was a man who worked in a beer company, major beer company here, for example. And he worked there for some years, and then I told his friend, that I don't tell himself, but I told his very good friend that this was an issue. And they knew it was an issue because they are serious Buddhists. Then he gave up his job. He sought a new job, and he paid back actually 1 month of salary to the beer factory, then get a new job. That's the way to do it. That's serious business. Huh? You've done something bad, you pay back your salary, get a new job, so you don't do any more bad, more evil to yourself and the world. The characterization of right livelihood for lay people. Any livelihood that neither involves any killing, injuring, harming, nor any forced imprisoning of any living being, neither stealing, not taking what is not giving, cheating, any bribery or corruption, or lying, or false deceiving, tricks, or use of false weights, or measures, or papers, or taxations, or travel documents, neither any sensual or sexual abuse, neither the use of selling alcohol or intoxicating illegal drugs that cause carelessness, neither by oneself, nor by getting, nor inciting other employed beings to do so. Such is right livelihood. The explanation of right livelihood for Buddhist monks and nuns is neither living nor receiving food by astrology, soothsaying, predicting the future events, nor by palmistry, geomancy, dream reading, charms and spells, selling amulets, very popular today, unfortunately, imbecile, or fake divination, nor by any rituals, running errands or messages, political flatter, arranging marriages, funerals or divorces, medical praxis. I'm a doctor, I cannot do it. Or by producing art, Tanga painting, or by poetry, or by professional disputation or debate. That is right livelihood. Knowing right and wrong livelihood as right and wrong livelihood is right view, samadhi. Awareness of presence of right or wrong livelihood is right awareness. Exchanging wrong livelihood with right livelihood is right effort. For further study of Buddhist right livelihood, Samma-Ajiva, then go to my website, whatbuddhasaid.net. I will give the link below and search for what is right livelihood, Samma-Ajiva. This was 58 minutes and 49 seconds, and we are still outside, and it's not raining yet. And that's the good news, because we are in the monsoon. So that was the 6 questions for today. I'm happy at heart that we made it all within 1 hour. May many beings become first pure, then innocent, then happy thereby, by this giving of Dhamma, by this information. Namo Tasso Bhagavato Arahato Samma-Sambuddhassa. Worthy, honorable, and perfectly self-enlightened was the blessed Buddha. Remember to click subscribe. I think it's down there. Or go to my website, whatbuddhasaid.net, or search for my Google group for sending of daily Dhamma emails, where you can receive 1 daily email a day. The Google group is called Buddha Direct. You can also go to my website, What Buddha Said, and get my email, Bhante, BHANTE, Samahita, SAMAHITA, @gmail.com, and then send me an email. Just say subscribe. Then you put you on the list. There's roughly 10,000 other Buddhists which gets a Buddhist email every day. I can highly recommend it. Then you are kept on the path, because you are being reminded about the Dhamma, about this wonderful quality of this wonderful teaching that can take beings from being primitive or even subhuman to something that is more than divine, more than God. Can take beings to Nirvana, which is lasting happiness, absolute freedom, and complete peace. Have a nice day, and thank you for your attention. again.